$1.5 billion. That's how much Disney invested in Epic Games just 2 years ago. Not in a movie, not in a theme park, in a gaming company. And now, according to a Bloomberg report, the first major result of that investment is coming in November 2026, an extraction shooter built around Disney characters. Mickey Mouse, Marvel, Star Wars, all of them fighting to reach an extraction point. Sounds insane, but here's the thing. It might actually be exactly what Epic needs right now, or it might be the most expensive mistake in gaming history. Hello, I'm Particle, and today we're going to figure out if Disney just saved Epic or handed them a shovel to dig deeper. To understand why this announcement matters so much, you need to understand just how significant the Disney and Epic partnership actually is, and how much is riding on it. Back in February 2024, Disney made a jaw-dropping move. The company invested $1.5 billion directly into Epic Games, not into a game, not into a specific project, into Epic itself. The stated goal was to build a persistent Disney universe inside Fortnite, a place where players could interact with Disney franchises, characters, and worlds in an ongoing, evolving experience. We already saw the first piece of that vision with the introduction of Disneyland inside Fortnite. But according to Bloomberg's report, what's coming next is something far more ambitious. Epic is now pinning what the report calls a resurgence on a new slate of Disney games. And the first of those games, the one arriving in November 2026, is described as an extraction shooter with Disney characters. Specifically, something along the lines of Embark Studios' Arc Raiders, but built around the Disney universe. That description alone is enough to make anyone stop and think. So let's break down both sides of this, starting with why it could actually work. Let's start with ARC Raiders, because that comparison is not random and it's not small. ARC Raiders launched in October 2025 and became one of the biggest surprises the gaming industry has seen in years. Developed by Embark Studios, a relatively small team of around 300 people, the game sold over 4 million copies in its first 2 weeks. By February 2026, it had surpassed 14 million copies worldwide. Its peak concurrent players approached nearly 1 million across all platforms. The game won Best Multiplayer at the Game Awards 2025. And its developer has publicly said that ARC Raiders generated close to $500 million in revenue, enough to fund 2 brand new games in development, while growing the studio and offering staff competitive bonuses. ARC Raiders proved something important. The extraction shooter genre, done right, is one of the most powerful formats in gaming right now. Players love the tension, the risk-reward loop, the moment-to-moment drama of going in, surviving, and getting out. It's a format that keeps people coming back day after day. Now imagine that format layered with Disney, and not just any Disney. We're talking about access to arguably the most powerful intellectual property portfolio in entertainment history. Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney classics. The combined cultural weight of those franchises reaching an audience that already loves extraction gameplay could be genuinely explosive. Epic doesn't have to build new characters from scratch, new worlds, new lore. The foundation already exists, and billions of people already have an emotional connection to it. And there's another angle here that matters. Epic needs a second pillar, something that can stand on its own regardless of what happens to Fortnite. And if you're going to bet on one IP to carry that weight, Disney is probably the safest bet in entertainment. That's not nothing. That's actually a very smart place to start. Here's where the story gets uncomfortable. Because for every reason this could work, there's a warning sign sitting right next to it. The Bloomberg report didn't just announce the game. It included details that should make anyone paying attention nervous. Internal reviewers at Epic have already expressed concerns that the game mechanics are not very original. That's not a rumor from outside the company. That's people inside the building working on the project saying the gameplay doesn't feel fresh enough. And in the extraction shooter genre specifically, that is about the worst thing you can say. ARC Raiders didn't win 14 million players by being a copy of something that already existed. It won them by being genuinely different. Derivative doesn't survive in that space. Then there's the timeline. The report states that Disney is unhappy with Epic's development timeline. Epic's own communications director responded by saying that Epic's timelines are, quote, aggressive and always have been. Read that again. The company defending its schedule by calling it aggressive is not a reassurance, it's a confession. And a November 2026 launch date that Disney itself is uncomfortable with is a flashing warning light you cannot ignore. Then there's the bug report situation. The report claims Epic has been routinely mass deleting unresolved bug reports. Epic's response was that closing low-priority bugs without fixing them is standard industry practice. Maybe, but when you stock that on top of everything else, a tight timeline, internal concerns about originality, Disney frustration, you stop reading it as normal practice and start reading it as a team under pressure cutting corners to hit a date. And the most damning detail of all comes directly from Epic's own CEO, Tim Sweeney, who admitted in a memo that the company had, quote, regularly released products before employees felt they would resonate with consumers. That sentence should be on a warning label, because right now, reading this Bloomberg report, you cannot help but wonder, is this Disney extraction shooter already the next example of exactly that? Let's step back from the game itself for a moment, because what's actually at stake here is bigger than one title. Epic built its empire on Fortnite, and Fortnite's decline has exposed something that was always true, but nobody wanted to say out loud. The entire company was balancing on one leg. The Disney partnership represents Epic's attempt to grow a second one, and the logic is sound. Disney's IP has multi-generational appeal in a way that almost nothing else in entertainment does. A well-executed Disney game could reach demographics that Fortnite never touched: parents, younger kids, fans who wouldn't go near a battle royale but would absolutely pick up a game with characters they've loved their entire lives. But well-executed is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, because what the Bloomberg report actually describes is not a studio confidently building its next chapter. It describes a studio under enormous financial pressure, with internal doubts about the product, a partner that's unhappy with the pace, and a launch window that is aggressive by the admission of the people trying to hit it. The gaming industry is littered with games that had incredible IP and terrible execution. A Marvel logo or a Star Wars lightsaber does not automatically make a game good. Players know the difference. And in 2026, with the extraction shooter genre now proven and ARC Raiders setting the bar, the audience Epic is chasing is more sophisticated than ever. You don't get to coast on brand recognition in that space. You have to earn it. Epic has the IP. Epic has the Disney relationship. Epic has the resources, or what remains of them. What's less clear is whether they have the one thing that can't be manufactured under pressure: enough time to actually get this right. So, genius move or desperate bet? Right now, it's an uncomfortable mix of both. The vision is smart: Disney IP plus a proven genre format, built by the team that created one of the most successful games in history. That combination has real potential on paper. Nobody should dismiss it out of hand. But the details inside this report tell a different story about what's happening in practice. Internal doubts, an unhappy partner, an aggressive timeline, a CEO who has admitted the company ships before it's ready. That's not the foundation of a confident comeback. That's the foundation of a very expensive gamble. Epic needs this to work. That's not an opinion, it's a fact that Sweeney himself put in writing. And sometimes need is enough to push a team to do something extraordinary. But sometimes need just makes the mistakes faster. November 2026 will answer the question, and the whole industry will be watching. What do you think? Is this the move that saves Epic, or is the shovel already halfway into the ground? Drop your take in the comments. I read everything. Leave a like and subscribe if this is the kind of deep dive you want to see more of. And don't forget, I'm Particle.